Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool talk is going to be my first loadout on the Veto Pro SB-LD. Got this bag for free during the spring promotion, bought the MB5B. I basically have had all my tool bags out on my workbench for the last day or so, trying to figure out what tools I want to put in which bag, how it's going to work out the best for me. And to be honest with you, I still don't really know yet, but I've got to start somewhere. I've just got to throw some tools in a bag, use it for a little while, see how it works out. I've even still been playing with my MB5B, moving panels around, taking MCT blackout panels, putting it in it along with this panel, trying different things. Haven't figured that out yet. I still don't know for sure if I'm going to use this or stick with that Tech MCT blackout. But again, how I plan on using this bag is it's going to be there as soon as I open my door on the driver's side. It's going to be sitting there on the floor. I can grab it if I want to. I'm probably still going to end up grabbing my MP2X more than this bag, so I wouldn't even call this my go bag. My MP2X has kind of started serving as my go bag. So as I go through this loadout, you're going to notice things like the vessel tank through screwdrivers, the USB, electric vessel screwdriver, some of the tools that I like the most and the things that I talk about the most that are my favorite. You're going to say, how come you don't have them in your, bag here? How come they're not in there? Well, that's because I'm trying to go with multi-tools on this to kind of lessen the weight, because to me this bag is still a little bit too heavy. I think I'm right at 22 pounds right now, and then also the max payload on this thing I think is 22.5 pounds. So I'm right there at it, and I can kind of tell it whenever I'm holding on to this handle right here. So I really need to lessen the load on it. But again, I'm going to run it like this for a little while, see which tools I use, which ones I don't, and then I can probably take out some. But maybe you guys can also help me with that as I go through this loadout. If you see things and say, hey, I think you could probably get rid of that, lessen up the load a little bit, or maybe I need to remove something and swap it out with something else, you guys can help me out with that. But again, I'm going to jump into this, just going to show you the tools that I have in it, the slots I've got them in, kind of how it fits within the bag. I'm not going to go over kind of the features of the bag or anything like that. I've got a video comparing it to the TPLC. There's lots of other videos out there of the empty bag that you can check out for specs and all those things. This is just going to be a loadout. I'm going to show you the tools, show you where I've got them, and again, maybe it will give you some ideas to help you load out yours, and then also maybe you can help me out by helping me lessen the load a little bit on this. But let's go ahead and jump into this bag. All right, so looking at the outside of the bag, let's go ahead and kick it over to this side over here. I didn't notice before as I was doing a video for this one that this pocket here is actually like all the way through, like you can put something longer through there. So I'm keeping two smaller adjustable wrenches in there. This one is the channel lock big ass. It's that one with that slim profile head. And then I've also got a 6-inch Milwaukee. They both fit in there together pretty well. I basically have these so that if I need to use two for holding back on something, whatever it might be, I can use them for that. But I also am going to have a pliers wrench in here, so this is one of those where I could probably get rid of one of these two if I want to. But that's what's on this side. And then over here in these two pockets here, I'm trying to keep it kind of simple to where I've got a lot of bits, you'll see as I get back to the back, but I basically wanted to keep some up here in the very front so that if I want to use them with a screwdriver, I can grab them without getting into the rest of the bag. So I wanted to kind of be able to use the bag in different ways. I hope to use it like this primarily, and then every now and then I'm going to need to get in this, and then every now and then I'm going to need to get in this. So that's the idea behind this. So over here I've got that Klein metric flip socket. I went ahead and put it here along with the SAE version as well, the one with the 9/16 and the 1/2 inch there. And then also I've got just a regular shaft with the 1/4 and 5/16 so that I can just use this and throw it in one of my screwdrivers and put a bit in it if I need to. So those are going to be the main 3 bits that I would use in a screwdriver way. But again, I've also got more tools back here in the back that these will work with. And then I've got my Fluke 324 along with the test leads. These are the silicone test leads. I think they're like the Fluke 175s or something like that, or 7880487s. I'll put up the part number over here. I can't remember. I think they're like T175s or something like that. These are the best test leads. They've also got that twist lock as far as for opening and close them to protect your leads as well. But mostly I just like how the how these things are, you know, flexible and things like that. So the reason why I've got this in here instead of my T6 1000 Pro is because this has capacitance on it, and I can still do amps, I can still do voltage, and it kind of fits in the bag better than that with the leads already attached to it and all those things. So that will, my T6 1000 Pro will end up being in my either my MCT Blackout or this MB5B. But that's why I've got this one in here, because it will do, you know, more things. Going over to this other side, I've got the Racketeer stud ball. I just put it on a little clamp here, and then it's magnetized to a D-ring. So that'll be my stud finder in this bag. And then I also have the 27-in-1 tamper resistant or tamper proof with all those different bits in it. 27 precision bits there. Basically, again, it's a multi-tool. This slot over here was big enough to hold this one instead of just keeping a small one with me, even though typically I just use the little Phillips and the little slotted thermostat type screwdriver, you know, those kinds of things. But I might as well carry this one. It's really not that much more weight, and I've got plenty of room over here on this side for a bigger screwdriver, and it actually sticks up better right there. So that's why I've got that one there. Here's the Knipex 5101 210s. That's the carpenter style end. That's going to be my hammer in this bag for, again, not for anything that you would use a regular hammer for, but every now and then you just need to tap on something. This works pretty well, and it's also a pair of end pliers and some cutters for me as well that I can use. So I've used that in a lot of my bags. It works out really well. Here I've got the Klein 8-in-1 stubby with the flip socket. It's got the smallest one in there, the one I just picked up for the 1.5. And this one, it's working out pretty good. I've got the Riley sheath down in there, so that makes it to where this snaps in and it won't come out. So it's sticking up enough where I can just easily grab it, pull it out, but that's locking it in to where it's not going to fall out of there on me. You know, I don't have to worry about it, or it's not going to go way down in there to where I can't grab it and pull it out without sticking my fingers down inside the bag. So again, I don't have a ball handle screwdriver in this bag. That's my favorite kind. So that's basically, this is going to be my screwdriver in this bag. That's my ball handle, so I can take this out, use the flip sockets if I want to as my magnetic nut drivers. And again, that's just basically screwdriver there. Also, I can put a longer flip socket bit in there and use that. So this is probably going to be like my screwdriver, in which I can just change it to whatever I want to, as opposed to the impact ratcheting 11-in-1 that I have here. I'll show you in a minute. You know, it's only got the bits that come in it, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and leave that in there. I've got the Fluke 1ACA2 in here. I just got it in here because I've got my Fluke meter in here, and I just wanted to keep the bag the same. I've got tons of these. I can kind of go back and forth. And again, my Santronics and that one and that new Sperry one that I'm using as well. The Santronics is probably my favorite still at the moment, so it's staying in my MP2X, but this is the one that I put in this bag. I have a Pika 3030. I put this in here instead of the Holtefors because for whatever reason, the Holtefors, the holder, everywhere where I kept sticking it, it wasn't really holding in there because the pencil actually locks in on the Holtefors a little bit harder than what the Pika does. And whenever I was pulling the pencil out, the holder was coming out with it. So that's why I went with the Pika 3030 in this bag, and the green also matches my Racketeer stud ball, and then also this chalk shot here that's the Duramark. So I basically put this in here instead of an Inkzall. So I'm going to start kind of using that and seeing how well I like that, because typically I just use a pencil if I'm drawing lines. So I'm going to keep this in there for a while and again see how I like it. So that's both sides. Now we'll get into the very front. As I open it, and again, I've got a flashlight right here that I can grab without having to open this. This is the Olight i5R EOS. So this one has those two different settings, and then it's also got that clip that you can put on your hat and then also wear it as a headlamp. So that's why I've got this one in here as opposed to maybe some other one. Up in here, I just basically keep a bunch of different bit holders, the locking bit holders from DeWalt. I've got 3 or 4 of them in there, along with a 1/4 and 5/16 Malco. And again, I'll show you why I've got these, but I can also take these if I want to, put them in that 8-in-1 stubby. I can put them in the ratcheting impact 11-in-1 and change out to a different bit as well. So I have that in there. I also have this very small Vera screwdriver. Let's see, the part number on this one's 813. I actually got this just because it was crazy cheap one day, and I didn't realize it was this small. I think this might be the screwdriver that goes in those Vera bit checks. But what this really works well for is if I take my Allen heads here on my regular bit rail. So this is what else I have down in there. So I have basically, these are going to be my Allen keys. I've got ball end and then also your regular. These work really well in this screwdriver for towel bars and things like that. That little set screw that's back in there, this gets back in there without touching the wall with a screwdriver. So that's really basically the only thing I've ever used this screwdriver for, but it works out really well for that. So I've got that down in there because it fits. And then also I got these bit rails. So this is one of those where I could probably, to loosen up some weight, take out, probably just keep the ball ends and take out these because it's the same sizes, so it's just two different sizes. So I might end up doing that and leaving one of these in one of my other bags. That way I've got a set in both bags. And then I've also got this bit holder here with the magnetizer, demagnetizer. So those are in there. And then the only other thing that's down in here in the bottom of this is the Icon flex ratchet. And again, I've just got it down in there for in case I got to get into some tight space. This allows you to be able to, you know, get in there to flex head in a different way. And I've got some Makita sockets down in the very bottom of the bag. I probably won't even be able to get those out till I empty it because I'm not going to use them that often, but that's just the just in case thing. I run into needing this every now and then in a certain situation. So that's all that's down in there. So quite a bit fits down inside that little front pouch. As far as up here in this part of it, I've got the Knipex Smart Grips over here, and I'm trying to make it to where everything slides in and out good too. I might have it overloaded, but as of right now, and this is still, it's brand new, so it's kind of tight. These things are going to wear in over time, but over here on this side, I've got the Knipex 8501-250 Smart Grips, so that's a pair of 10-inch Cobras basically. Slides right in there. You can see it slides in and out super nice. I really like that about that. And then over here on this side, I've got the Knipex 10-inch pliers wrench, the 8601-250s. They're a little bit tight right now, but it's still, they're going to work themselves in. I can tell it's going to fit just the same as a Smart Grip. And I think it's mostly just because this is quite a bit beefier than that of the Smart Grip, so it's just going to take a little while for that to wear in. So I do have a pair of 10-inch of each one in my bag, and that's mainly because I wanted 2 pairs of Cobras and 2 pairs of pliers wrenches again, so in case I've got to hold back on something, I've got 2 of those. Over here I've got a pair of diagonals, the Knipex 7401-200s. So I've got those. I've got the twin grips as my screw extractor pliers, 8201-200s. So a lot of the same tools that I've had for quite some time. I'm just kind of shifting bags. You know, if you've got good tools, there's no sense in really, you know, I'm just going to get new tools because I got a new bag. If they're working for you, they're working for you. And then again, I've got the 8701-180s and then also the 8601-180s, the pliers wrench, and the Knipex Cobras. These are my favorite size. That's at 7 1/4 size. These are the ones I actually like to use the most. And I normally, again, I always put my pliers in like this for one. Now I know which one is the pliers wrench and which one's the Cobra, and it's not a big deal to me to grab them like that. So, and they actually, to me, I can fit more pliers. Even though it's taken up, it seems like more room. You know, I'm fitting 4 pairs of pliers in there in 3 slots. So in all reality, I got a better view of what pliers I have, and I'm still fitting just as many, if not more, inside there. So those are my main pliers. As far as, again, I'm keeping the 10-inch ones in there. I don't use them as often, but they were over there in the side, and I wanted 2 pairs of each, so I kept those in there. Up here's Knipex Forge wire strippers, 1372-8. Gonna need a pair of wire strippers. These are about as multifunctional as you can get. Great cutters, strips several different sizes of wire, and then also gives you a decent pair of pliers and some screw cutters as well, so that's a decent set to keep in your bag. Here I've got the Snap-on, the LN47 ACFs. These are basically going to be the needle nose pliers in this bag, and I really love these. These are phenomenal. There's this big spot right in the middle right there. They slide right in there. They're good enough to where I can grab them. I really like the spot here for that, so I started to put my Knipex, like the extended reach, over here in the side, but I personally just think I'd rather use these, and I think I can get more use out of these, so that's why they're going to go in there. Also got the Impact 11-in-1 ratcheting screwdriver. So this is just the 11-in-1 Impact by Klein. So this is the ratcheting version. This is my favorite 11-in-1 that's ever been out. I don't necessarily care that it's the ratcheting or the other. I just kept the ratcheting because there's probably going to be more options for me to use this with. But again, I can use this as this 11-in-1. So this is the main screwdriver I'm probably going to grab out if I'm going to do anything. I've got all these different bits that come in it. You can change out this one bit in particular with whatever bit you want to here, so I can grab bits out of that bit railer, but I can also just take out this altogether if I want a magnetic bit and grab one of these bit holders, throw that in there, and then now I've got, you know, a bit holding screwdriver that's also magnetic. So lots of options with that. Again, that's the main reason why I've got this one in there, is because it's one slot, all kinds of options that I can use it with. That's why I went with that one. So demolition screwdriver, I just went with the Klein one. I had this laying around, and it's a little bit smaller than my other ones. And again, I can use this alongside that Knipex hammer deal if I need to just chisel out a little bit of something to get something out of my way, whatever it might be. And this one kind of matched that Klein 11-in-1 ratcheting screwdriver, so that's why I went with that one. So again, down here in the bottom, this is what I will use with that Icon flex ratchet if I need to. I'm not going to need them that often, so all I've really got to do to pull that out is pull out my pair of forged wire strippers, pull out that pair of snap-on pliers, and then I can reach my hand down there and grab them if I need to. So that's the bulk of everything there. The only thing that's up here in the very top in this little sleeve, I don't like putting very much stuff in here. I started to, but then it kind of gets into hitting your screwdrivers, making it harder to get whatever you have in here out. So the only thing that I have in here is a garbage disposal wrench. You know, as a maintenance person, you're going to run into that all the time. And then also I've got the little protectors for the Knipex pliers wrench, so that I can use these on aerators, faucets, whatever, to keep from scratching that surface. So that's the bulk of the main tools that I'm going to end up using in this bag. Of course, the big thing about this SB-LD that is super nice is the back side of the bag. So one thing that I do have up here as well is I did put the Olight O-clip. I've got it clipped onto the handle. That way I've just got a small light if I want one. I'll probably end up putting this back on my main bag, just because I've got some other light options in this bag. I've got this, you know, this Olight light, but I've also got another one back here that I'm about to show you. So back here, you have this flap right here as far as you can open this. That's for a notepad or, you know, a small iPad, whatever it might be. In there, I've got one pair of the Maxi Flex gloves. I usually run these or the Milwaukee cut level ones. So these are pretty much exactly the same thing in my opinion. There's not a lot of difference between the two. So I've got that. I've got some of the smaller zip ties tucked in back here in the back. I also have a railer mag strap. So I've got this tucked in there. That's going to be my parts tray basically for this bag. Also have the small brush. This is something that I picked up from the Loadout series of Guess the Trade that somebody had. So I picked that up. And then also got a small parts bin. So again, this is I'm going in somewhere, doesn't know what I'm getting into. Typically it's going to be, I'm going to be doing electrical work 9 times out of 10, but sometimes it's plumbing or whatever. So I just kept a few Wagos so that if I need to do some testing, I've got some 2s, 3s, 5s, a couple wire nuts, plug shims, small wire nuts. So this is just something where I'll just throw stuff in it as I get it, and I just need some place to put it. So all that fits back in there and doesn't fit in there tight. It all comes out pretty easy. I can pull one thing out and not have to pull it all out. Again, that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to make it to where I don't have to pull out 3 things to get to one thing. So that's the go with that. And then here's the main part of the bag that I really like the most. This is what would maybe sell this bag to me over the TPLC, even though I like that flap on the TPLC the best, is that you've got the option for this compartment right here. So now I've got the option to carry my M12 installation driver, so that fits in there super nice. You know, it's closing right up. It's not even bumped out that much right there. So this is one of the main things that I like about this, because now I can carry a drill in with me every time I go into a job. I don't have to have something tucked into the side that I feel like is going to fall out and all those things. So that's what I'm going to end up running here. I don't have my surge back yet, so I still don't know if they're repairing it or what they're doing. I might play with it and see if the surge fits in here better whenever I get that. If that's the case, I might go with that. But I've also, with that, keeping the offset adapter and then also the right angle drill down there in the bottom. And I never kept these in my bags before. I always just kept them in my truck. So there's times where I needed a right angle and I have to go out to my truck and get it. So I do like that it kind of just fits down in there. And then after I got it down in there, it can just stay down in there. If I don't need it, I can just leave it in there like that. But then I can also, again, just put the drill right on top of them, and it still fits in there just like it was kind of made for it. Fits in there super nice. So got that in there as well. And then over here on this side, I've got this Wubin light. It's the F5. I'll probably do a review on this at some time. I'd like to have my M12 Rover light in here and just with my batteries, but that's just way too much room that it would take up in here along with the installation driver. But this one's got different settings of different colors, and then you can also turn up the brightness and turn it down. But it's very similar to that of a Rover light, so it's very small and compact. But it's also a power bank. I think it's got a 5200 milliamp hour power bank on it, so I can also charge my phone, I can charge other lights, I can charge whatever with that. So I think it's a little bit smaller than the Rover light. I can pretty much use it the same as I use my Rover light with Milwaukee. So if I'm working under a sink, I can just throw this in the bottom of the sink, turn it on, lights up that entire cabinet, and it takes up way less room in my bag. So that's why I'm running that one. And then back here, I just got basically my nut driver set that works with my installation driver if I need to. So I have basically all my Klein pass-through magnetic nut drivers, so that gives me all these that I can put in a screwdriver if I want to, but I can also put them in my installation driver. And then I've also got a couple longer bit holders as well. I just basically put as many in there as I could fit, that it didn't make my bag pooch out in the back whenever I was sticking them in there. So again, that's basically all the tools that are in here. It fits a ton, in my opinion. You could really use this as a main bag if you wanted to. But overall, I think that I got quite a bit in there. Installation driver, lots of hand tools, lots of pliers, things like that. But that's the loadout that I've got so far on this SB-LD. So yeah, guys, that's the SB-LD. This is my first loadout of the bag. I finally had some time to throw some tools in it. I'm going to use it like this. Again, I'm going to plan on maybe hopefully dropping some weight out of this thing. We're going to see how it goes over the next couple weeks anyways. But again, I'm interested in your suggestions down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you'd swap out something with something else, whatever it might be. But I hope this helps you guys. If you've got this bag, maybe it gives you some ideas of how you might would want to load it out, or just give you some tool suggestions of maybe some things that you haven't seen before. So as always, I hope that it was helpful. Hope it's useful in some way. You guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. See you on the next video.